Welcome from us here at Two Wheels, and we're in Hluhluwe for the annual off-road race sponsored by the Queen Pineapple farmers in this area, and it forms part of the national off-road racing scene. Riders get away from the start. Daryl Curtis followed by Rian van Niekerk. Gary Peterson was the man on pole position for today's event. Etienne Nordier goes through on 474, followed by Angelis Hondikas and Sonnet Kritzier. Deep sand, it's all types of terrain for today's race, and they've got 360 k's of racing ahead of them. Jacques Lowe picks up his bike in the Cubman's class, and George Avers Sr. gets involved with him as well on that Honda 4-stroke. Now he's got to kick that thing back into life. Take a look at that deep sand, and these two-stroke bikes are battling through there. Over the road we go, and of course marshals have to direct the riders slowly over these parts. Well controlled and a well laid out event as Justin Valentin goes through. Oh, and one of those Hondas goes down in the Clubman's class. Check out that riding gear, jeans and Pelskins. That is Stefan Nicholson on M6, and he's also riding in that Clubman's class on a CR250 Honda. The quads, time for the quads to get away, and that's Brendan Bardenhorst, the man on pole position in the quad class with that big old Bombardier Desert Storm. Right behind him it'll be Cornel de Villiers on L1, and then local man Carl Wickman on L43, the Yamaha Raptor. He knows his way around this place. Dion Belcher gets away on, looks like the Gas number L100. That's the new Gas just released in South Africa. Etienne Jacobs comes through, and that looks like a Honda 300 or 350. Sounds like a big bore. Through the pineapple fields we go, and I wish these quad riders would give us better numbers to read, because we can't make out who the hell they are. And they often complain we don't mention their names. Well, you can see why, because we can't see who they are. That's the Yamaha Banshee, the twin-cylinder 350cc machine, and just behind him it looks like Jason Ferreira taking part in the regional quad class. And this is Nico Harris also in the regional quad class on 132. Paulo Costa just behind him on L23. Barry Creel is at the front. Barry Creel's gone to the front on the KTM 250. Where is Gary Peterson? We're told he has run out of fuel out on the course. This is just 80 k's into the race, and already Peterson's out. He didn't have a large fuel tank on the bike. He's got the standard tank, and he's run out of gas. Grey Dick comes through in second place with that Shimwell's Yamaha 426 with special exhaust and special tuning in the motor. Grey Dick going well this year. This is Elmer Simmons making a return to the off-road scene. Oh, he is flying along in that KTM. Look at that start. He gets it absolutely sideways through that gate and back down to those pineapple fields. This is the largest pineapple growing area in the southern hemisphere, so we are told, and it's good to have these farmers involved with us today, and Bell Equipment with the helicopters. That is Brian Kappa, the trials rider on the big 4-stroke KTM, and Wayne Farmer comes flying through with that Kawasaki. This is Rian van Niekerk leading in the 200cc class and 5th overall. Spencer Creel, who started off second for today's race, comes through. I wonder why he's so far back all of a sudden. Maybe he got lost, or he's had some bike problems. Carl LaRue on the Millimore KTM 503. He's lying 7th overall. A good ride from Carl. We often see him up there. And one of those Ramco Suzuki come through. Brandon Else on 255. A good showing from him as well. And good to see Suzuki involved in off-road racing once again. Clayton Enslin, last year's champion on 250 on KTMs for this year after riding Yamahas last year. A couple of injuries so far. And that looks like Andrew Ogden on bike number 1, the 200cc KTM. Look at that deep sand, and this course is well laid out and well marked. That's why the riders can hang on the cable, as they say. Through goes Carl Leroux. He's closing up on those little 200s through that deep sand. Bombardier quads, look like the Bombardiers have got a problem out there. One of them has stopped. Is that Cornel de Villiers? I'm not really sure, but this is Carl Wickman through those pineapple fields at 160 k's an hour plus on those quads. Believe me, they are unstable at that speed. One of those Banshee quads fights his way through that deep sand. It's quite incredible how quickly that sand gets deep further down the field. Over 300 competitors in today's race. By far the biggest entry we've ever seen in an off-road race in South Africa. Off-road racing is alive and kicking. Great shots from our Bell helicopter up there in the sky. Can't see who the riders are though, because they're so far away. Barry Creel has pulled out a 30-second lead at the front of the field. You can see why. He's using those berms, and up in the sky, boy, next to those fences, nothing is slowing him down. Grey Dick, 36 seconds now behind. This is Grey Dick on 501. Bike's sounding a bit noisy. He's got a hole in the exhaust or something, and it's misfiring as well. Big old wheelie from Gray. Awesome four-stroke car from that Shimwell's Yamaha. Elmer Simmons still in third place. That's the line to use. Get up on that berm and get the power on the ground. Fourth on the road should be Daryl Curtis on the two-stroke Shimwell's Yamaha number 444. As always, standing up on the pegs. Curtis, the ultimate late breaker on that Yamaha. Airtime and on the power through the gearbox. Oh, amazing how he does that. This was Brian Kappa, four-stroke KTM. He would have hoped for a better result today than that. He's lying fifth at the moment. Panikak, the first of the 200s. Listen to that thing scream. Almost runs over our cameraman in the process. Clayton Enslin not quite coming to terms with the KTM for some reason this year. You can always spot him a mile off with those white boots, and this is Spencer Creel, who's lost about 5 minutes in the process. Bernard Johnson on the 125 just runs past our helicopter on bike number 4. And this is Grant Wheeler, KTM mounted 200. That's Robert Schiepers. Easy does it for him. He's riding in the regional class, as is Philip Hanbury on that, looks like an old XR 400 Honda with a big piston in. Anton Lowe goes through past the dam. Nice and green at this time of the year, quite surprising in the middle of winter, and that's Craig Younghusband. Well marked, as I said. Look out for that dip. I wonder if it's a cattle dip. Checkpoints along the way. The marshals are making sure these riders do stay on the course. We don't want them riding through the rest of the fields and running over those pineapples. Carl Wickman comes into the refuel point and he's off on his second lap. The regional rider then is leading the nationals, and in comes Cornell de Villiers in second place with the big old Bombardier. They mark their helmets to make sure that they've been through all of the checkpoints into the race. They'll check that out. And this is Paul Komsa, and he's on a Yamaha Banshee. Chews a lot of fuel, and he'll be taking on a full fuel load here at the refuel point. Jeff Bush comes through, and he's riding for the official Bombardier team. Gets his helmet marked. And some of those club riders have already completed their race. They're standing by in the pits for their results. Barry Creel, the leader, still out front. Beautiful countryside here at Hluhluwe. Grey Dick. Oh, listen to that exhaust. That hole's got even bigger now. Slow down, guys. There's a big old ditch in the way. This is Elmer Simmons still in third place. So the first three are staying as they are, despite Grey Dick having problems. Daryl Curtis goes through, and this is Brian Kappa on that big Katoom. Clayton Henston holding down that fifth place. He's catching up to Kappa, though. Andrew Ogden in the 200cc class, he's seventh overall. Oh, look at that steep downhill, and then up Widowmaker on the other side. Wayne Farmer says hello to our cameraman. This is the gas of Colin Stoffels. Boy, he's flying down the side of that mountainside. You've got to see these riders live. It is unbelievable as Brandon Else goes through with that Ramco Suzuki. Alex Vowles, he's in 13th place with that KTM. I think he's riding for Miller Moore this year. Oh, Barry Creel is lying down. He's doing about 180 k's per hour, and the front end is shaking and spitting up dust behind him. That's Brian Kappa on the four-stroke KTM on the brakes as he goes through. Not sure which way to go there. Big concrete wall on the left-hand side, and it's a huge dam that they're going to be riding around. Lots of development in this area at the moment. And did you know the most dangerous animal in Africa is one of these? Especially when they're in a bad mood and they've got kids around them. Elmer Simmons on the other KTM flies along that dam wall. So the first, second and third place is still the same. Grey Dick though is losing ground because that hole in the exhaust is costing him time, and this is Paulo Costa, and he's on a Yamaha Raptor 650, or is that 660? Louis Buerta is riding in the club class. He's also on a Raptor. Love the front end of these quads. Keep the revs up, don't want to stall that thing, and he's on bike number Q2. This is Sean Gunther on the big Bombardier. Look at the airtime he's getting, short sleeves and all. Rian Bass comes through with that KTM bike number 689. It's a 380cc bike, perhaps not the ideal bike for this type of race. Behind him is Glenn Gradwell. Easy does it on the Yamaha. Markings tell them that there's something dangerous ahead right there. Leon van der Merwe comes through. Easy does it for him. Compare the speed of these clubman riders to the full national guys. It's quite incredible, the speed difference. Raymond Crozier goes through that mud hole. A little bit of mud out on the track today. Sonette Kutsia. Unknown rider, we can't pick up the number as he splashes through that mud puddle, and that's Gallo van der Merwe on the white Yamaha. Dave Taylor comes through riding in the regional class up on the back wheel. That's the way to do it. Down to the finish line, Barry Creel. Barry Creel has won the Hluhluwe Queen Pineapple Off Road race. Behind him it will be Grey Dick. Grey obviously has got a problem. Oh, and look at the back wheel on Dick's bike. The whole tire has come off. Third place out on the road is Elmer Simmons, followed by Brian Capper. Regional class, it was Pierre Duplessis who won from Malcolm Smith and Clint Dreyer. The senior class won by Rob Anderson on a big KTM. Bad luck for Grey Dick, that's for sure. Elmer Simmons is happy to finish. Brian Capper arrives on bike number 631. Just seconds behind him, it's Clayton Enslin, bike number 250, and the first of the quads gets in. Carl Wickman, the local rider, has won the national quad class on that Yamaha Raptor. Rian Fenikek, the first of the 200s, gets to the finish line.
It's quite rough, but excellent course. Got a bit tired on the second lap. I've had flu for the last 2 weeks, and I took a wrong turn, and Ray got past me, and I was chasing him in the dust, and you can't see anything. Behind the quads, you can't even see your front mudguard. And I think Ray crashed right near the engine, and I managed to get past him, so I'm so happy.
I started off well, got going, I managed to pass into the front about just after the second lap. And then everything going well, and my exhaust actually broke, and it was making a big noise. And I was going, and then my moose actually collapsed, and that's where the tire came off the rim. So Barry managed to pass me then. But good race, I was happy.
Tough luck indeed, and a good quad race today as well, with Carl Wickman getting the win there on L43, the locally sponsored Yamaha Raptor, ahead of the Bombardiers of Cornell de Villiers and Hendrik Potgieter. The club class of the quads was won by C. Dreyer. Well done to Carl though. Awesome for him to win his first national event.
Very well done.
Well, how did it go?
It was bumpy. The second round was very bad and bumpy. But first national win for me, and feels good. Thanks.
No problems with the machine?
I had a puncture for about 50 k's. Just past the Widowmaker. Had to make it all the way back to second pit before I could change my tyre. It was quite rough.
Cornell de Villiers arrives in second place on L1, and behind him it'll be Hendrik Potgieter. Well run event here in Hluhluwe, and well done to the organisers. They've done a tremendous job. We look forward to next year's event. We'll be back right after this.
What position are you in?